Harihi Om Shri Ganesaya Namaha. Om Namastute Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullarabindaya Tapatra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purna Prajvalito Jnanamaya Pradipa. Om Krishna Om Dhyanamulam Gururmurti Pujamulam Gururpadam Mantramulam Gururvakyam Mokshamulam Guru Kripa. Om Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah. Mukam karoti vachalam Pangum langhayate girim Yat kripa tamaham bande Paramanandamadhavam. Sadguru Bhagavan ki jai, Satchidananda Bhagavan ki jai, Krishna Bhagavan ki jai, Gita Maharani ki jai. Hare Om. Yesterday we saw our 13th chapter in Srimad Bhagavad Gita and the 24th sloka wherein we discussed how to attain that highest knowledge of the self. Kshetra, Kshetrajna and Purusha, Prakriti, all these together, one who knows how he will be attended to. Dhyanena atmani pasyanti kechid atmanamatana anye sankhyena yogena karma yogena chapare. These some by meditation behold the self in the self by the help of the self only. Others by the yoga of knowledge, that is Sankhya Yoga, and still others by the yoga of action, Karma Yoga. And then we were seeing the other method also. Anye tu avajanantaha shrutva annevya upasate tepi chati tarantyeva nityam shruti parayanaha. The other ways are also there. Those others also, not knowing thus the Supreme Self, what do? They worship having heard of it from others, from the different gurus, from different Puranas and Shastras, they too cross beyond death regarding what they have heard as the supreme refuge, where to surrender. They understand and they practice it, and they do get the three paths, which is the yoga of meditation, the yoga of knowledge, and the yoga of action, to attain the knowledge of the self. We are described in the previous verses. In the verse, the yoga of worship, in this verse, the yoga of worship is described. Worshipping the path of devotion. Upasana, we say. Upa-asana means, upa means near, Upanishad, upasana, to sit near the deity and think of him the way you like best, according to your choice. So, some who are ignorant of the methods described in the previous verse, these three main ways, they listen to the teachings of the spiritual preceptors regarding this great truth or the self with intense and unshakable faith, Shraddha, Vishwas, solely depending upon the authority of others' instructions and through constant remembrance and contemplation of them attain immortality. In Srimad Bhagavad Purana, we hear everything about the incarnation of the Supreme Lord in the form of Lord Krishna, and we forget the origin, the Supreme Lord, which has got no form, no name, nothing beyond everything, which is not perceivable by senses or mind or prana, by nobody. One can understand that. So, feeling that is too difficult, unseen, unvisible, and how to attain that. So some support is required for the mind, and that support is form and the name. The whole world stands upon name and forms. So in this way, some people, thinking they are unable to go in those hard paths, yoga and the karma yoga also, and also jnana yoga, sankhya yoga, they take some other paths, easy path, that is devotion. Devotion, I have some God in my mind with a name and form. Maybe many names belong to him, just as Vishnu Sahasranam. My Lord is Vishnu. It has got so many names, never mind. But my Lord is Vishnu. Lord Vishnu is all in all. He is the Supremo. Some people think Ganesh is everything. He is the Adidev, the primordial being, the first being, and he is all in all. Some say, no, the sun god is Supremo. Without sun there is no creation here on the earth. So, I like sun. Sun is the Supremo. In this way, many people think of many names and forms, and they devote to that form. That is called devotion, with, of course, with 100% full faith, unshaken faith and devotion. They worship the name and form by many methods, by thinking, by chanting his name, by doing kirtan of his name, by worshipping in different ways, panchopachar, shodasopachar, worship. They do all sorts of actions to concentrate the mind on the deity, making garlands and singing his name, decorating him. Alankar Priya Vishnu. Some formula is made, and Lord Vishnu likes to be decorated nicely. So they go on decorating. In this way, by many methods, they withdraw the mind from worldly actions, worldly objects, sense objects, and they get engaged in thinking of their deity, and they pass time by hearing their sports, lila, and they go on worshipping them. They are particular gods, deities. This is how in the path of devotion it starts with two, but in the end it ends in one. Just as see our Mirabai, great devotee, she was devoted to Lord Krishna, Giridhar, mere to Giridhar Gopal, dusra na koi re. And particular form of Lord Krishna, Giridhar Gopal. And Surdas, and our Narsi Mehta, great devotee. Ankhiyan Hari Darsana ko pyasi. So different devotees have their different ways. They may be worshipping same deity, but by different ways. Some by kirtan. Mirabai used to do kirtan and dance. And whatever she gets, she offers it to the Lord from her core of heart, and that becomes prasad of Lord, and thereby her unshaken faith turned the poison into nectar. So miracles happen. In this way, one-pointed mind somehow or other attains the highest. So this is the path of upasana or devotion. They too, gradually, they attain the highest oneness, the Supreme Self. They are devoted to their preceptor. Some study the books written by realized seers, and they stick with great faith to the teachings content therein and live according to the instructions given there. They also overcome death because they have the one-pointed mind not towards the Supreme Self, Paramatma, but towards his preceptor. They have unshaken faith. So one-pointed mind is our main point. Somehow or other, mind should be one-pointed. Let it be by any means. They also overcome death. Whichever path one follows, one eventually attains the knowledge of the self and final liberation from birth and death. Salvation, moksha. Salvation means getting rid of the problems of the mind which has created this world with different names and forms and relationships and contact of senses with them. In this way they are engaged in the world, but they get rid of all these problems and all these miseries, confusions and ignorance. They finally go to the one Supreme. That is called moksha, salvation. There are several paths to suit aspirants of different temperaments and equipments. Our Tukaram, he had only a pair of what is that called? The kartal. And day and night he used to sing the glory of the Lord. Adi Bija Akele, how the world is created. He goes on singing the glories of the Creator, the Supreme. In this way, many devotees have different ways and different equipments to use them for the enhancement of their devotion and their worship. Freeing oneself from ignorance with its effects through the knowledge of the self is crossing the sansara or attaining immortality or overcoming death or obtaining release or salvation. All these words, salvation, mukti, and attaining release, moksha, freedom, mukti, and getting rid of the sansar, and attaining immortality, all these are only some terms aiming at one point only. In this way, the path of devotion also gives you success in attaining the highest. So, then Lord says, Yavat sanjayate kinchit sattvam sthavar jangamam kshetra kshetrajna sanyogat tad vidhi bharatar sabha. Kshetra kshetrajna sanyogat. Whatever a being is born, whether unmoving or moving, char and achar, sthavar and jangam. Sthavar means one who moves, one who doesn't move. Jangam means one who moves. In other words, we can say living and non-living. In whatever womb the being is born, whether unmoving or moving, know thou, O Arjuna, O best of the Bharatas, that it is from the union between the field and the knower. Field is made by the Prakriti and knower the individual self. When they get together, and you know, karma kartrutva prakriti karma kartrutva sanjogat prakriti heturuchyate. The nature, the prakriti, we can say Maya or the supreme energy, that when creates the body and all these senses, etc., that is by the association with the self, for the self only. For the individual self, this body is made by the Prakriti. So both are together. And the next also we have seen Purusaha Prakriti-sthahi bhungte Prakritijan gunan. So both together, one creates, the other enjoys. Together. Here the self means it is the individual self. Yavat sanjayate kinchit sattvam sthavara jangamam kshetra kshetrajna sanyogat tad vidhi bharatarsava. Well, Arjuna, know thou, this is because of the union between the field and the knower of the field. Knower of the field is the individual self. Field is the body with the senses. O Arjuna, remember that whatever is born, unmoving or moving, know thou that to be due to the union between the body and the self. The knower of the field is like the ether without parts. Without parts. Therefore, there cannot be a union of the field and the knower of the field through contact of each other's parts, like the contact of the drum and the stick, or a rope and a vessel. There cannot be the imperishable connection between them, like the connection that exists between the head and the neck, or the arm and the shoulder, because the field and its knower are not related to each other as cause and effect. Then what sort of union is there between the field and its knower? It is of the nature of mutual superimposition or illusion. This is called the mutual understanding and union. You see, just as the snake and the rope, they have understanding. They have mutual understanding. Mutual understanding in sense the rope gets hidden and the snake appears. Superimposition. Superimposition. Something else appears instead of the reality. That is how it is one and the same, but it appears to be different, and they are mutually united, and then something happens. Then only we have fear or some problems. There is a snake, it is not a rope, it is a snake. In this way, that misunderstanding, fear of snake, all these are resulted because of our misunderstanding. And misunderstanding is the cause of one appearing instead of the other. This is how their mutual understanding of union. Really they are one and the same. This point we have seen in the previous, all the slokas of this chapter. See, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, and the witnessing, Upadrashta, Anumanta, one who supplies or gives his consent, and one who is the supplier. Everything is in one. This fundamental understanding should not be forgotten. See, just as we see the one reflection in the numeral forms. If there is a lens house everywhere in the room, top and bottom, see, roof and the floor and all the walls, they are filled with different sizes and different types of lenses. So, when you enter in and close the door, say, you are all alone in the room. How many reflections you will see? Of what size? Thousands and thousands. One reflection is in the other lens, that will be sometimes clear, sometimes not distinct, and of different size and shape. And one reflection is reflected in other lenses 1,000 times in each other. So many reflections of one object only. And that's how this whole creation is made up. You see, the Absolute is so transparent, so pure, just like the crystal, the prism. Whatever is around it, it is reflected in the crystal. And its own reflections also is reflected in the crystal. If it is a prism, its sides, its corner, everything is reflected in itself only. If in the round or half round, say, mirror, the mirror is reflected in the mirror, and that reflection is so confusing. It is very hard to understand what it is, how it is, why it is so. Sometimes the big waves, they are reflected in the water itself. Waves are made up of water only, and they are reflected in the water. In the same way, because of its purity, subtleness, and transparency, it reflects within itself and creates the confusion. In this way, the field and the knower of the field, both are one and the same, but they appear to be different from each other, and when they get together only, then something can be done. This is how the beings, unmoving and moving beings, they are created, they are born. Moving or non-moving beings means some clear reflection, some moving reflections in each other. Then what sort of union is there between the field and its knower? It is of the nature of mutual superimposition of illusion. This consists in confounding the one with the other, as well as their attributes also, like the union of a rope with a snake. And mother of pearl, sheep we say, it glitters like silver. Mother of pearl with silver, they appear as if one is the other. So, on account of lack of discrimination of their real nature, we misunderstand it. The attributes of the self are transferred to the body and vice versa. The attributes of the self are transferred to the body and vice versa. The self is transparent, subtler than the body, and that is reflected in the body. So body seems to be moving, the senses move, but really they are incapable of moving. A dead body's hands and legs, they don't move. He cannot see because of the association of the self in the body. Self means also the prana, the momentum to move. That also is there, and that creates the mind also moving. And just as in the machine, an engine, one part is responsible for the other part to move. By the combined effort, the whole engine works. Similarly, here, one is associated, related, connected with the other part of the body, so they get together to do something, some actions, some movements. That's how they are called moving beings. One part cannot do it. So, the attributes of the self are transferred to the body and vice versa. Body also resembles as the self. Always we discuss this point. My name is Mr. X. When you call Mr. X, can you come here? My name means I am not the name. It belongs to me, just as the cloth belongs to me. It is totally different from me. My body is different from you. You are something else. And when I call, can you come here? You come. Who comes? The body comes or the name comes? So it is clear to understand. When I say with real little understanding, I say it is my body, but when we behave, I behave like I body. I identify with the body. That's how the body becomes I. This mistake is the first mistake we do. From there, other mistakes means other misunderstandings start, and they go on multiplying. I am the body, I am the hand, I am the eyes, I am able to see. Are you able to see the bird sitting on the tree? No, I cannot see. How can you see? Your eyes only see. So you say, no, I don't see. That means you are the eyes. I don't hear. Please talk loudly. You are not hearing, your ears are hearing. Ears are nothing but some machine, and it is connected with the mind, brain, thought waves, and also intellect. So how do you say, I don't understand, I don't see, I don't hear? That means you identify yourself with the ear, eyes, everything. But sometimes, mainly in the background, I am the body. When you are the body, how can you say, I am the eyes? That means we expand and we contract, we minimize ourselves, make us limited, and in a moment we expand ourselves as the whole body. It goes on without any meaning, means without any real understanding. We just by habits, we go on behaving wrongly as it can be. So in this way, the body and the senses and the self also, individual self also, they have mutual understanding. One becomes the other becomes the one. In this way, they go on behaving wrongly. The attributes of the self are transferred to the body and vice versa. The insensate body is mistaken for the sensate self. The activities of the body or nature are transferred to the silent, actionless self. Being identifying itself with the body, he says, I am the doer, I am the hearer, I am the enjoyer. Everything he thinks this is false assumption only, and this is due to wrong identification. This is due to ego also. This sort of illusion or superimposition will disappear when one attains knowledge of the self. We have seen it in the previous sloka. What was that? Ya evam vetti purusham prakritim cha gunesa sarvatha vartamanopi nasa bhuyo vijayate. One who knows thus clearly the Purusha and the Prakriti with its qualities, how do they perform all these actions, wherever he may be, in whatever form he is born, he will not be entangled in the birth and death cycle. He will get free. When he knows the distinction between the field and its knower, they are different. When he is able to separate the field from the knower, like the reed from the munja, grass. When he realizes that the Brahman, which is free from all limiting adjuncts, is his own immortal self, and that the field is a mere appearance, like the snake in the rope, silver in mother of pearl, an imaginary city in the sky, and is like an object seen in a dream, or like the horses, places and forests projected by a juggler. Sometimes the magician shows so many things which is not real. We think it is real. It does something so quickly, you don't understand what is going on. In this way, one who understands this world to be a dream, or a magician's show, or some city built in the air, then only he gets released from all these misunderstandings and the pain and pleasure. There is no really. See, today we saw in Ahalya, we saw Khanderao was killed. And if we see it to be real, then of course we have to be sorry. Oh, poor fellow. There is a joke on it. You say, two Sardars, two friends, they were looking at the TV Animal Planet, and the lion was chasing the deer, and the deer, of course, it runs zigzagly, and it escaped from the paws of the lion, and the lion comes forward. In the TV, it is seen only the lion is coming with a terrific appearance. So the Sardar, one who was watching it, he opens his umbrella and shows towards the TV. The other friend says, "Oh fool, the lion is in the television. It cannot come out and bounce upon you. Don't be afraid. What do you think? What a fool you are." So the first one says, "I am not fool. You are a fool. You don't know the lion is an animal only. He cannot understand he is in the TV. He will just surely bounce upon me. You fool. You are telling me a fool." That means they have taken it to be a real lion and it is inside the television. So similarly, whatever we do, we take everything to be true. The body is acting, the body is doing everything, the hands are legs and they are doing the actions, and the sense of our knowledge, five senses, the eyes can see and the ears can hear. We take it for granted. And why it is so? Because we have been habituated and we have been established in this thought thoroughly well. Nobody can shake us. How can you say, my eyes are not able to see? My eyes only see. What do you think? My ears can see? My eyes only see. When my eyes are wrong, I cannot see. That means you have taken it for granted 100%. You are not somehow or other, you are not persuaded to believe. Your eyes are not these ears. Nobody can make you accept it. We have been habituated since not this life, not since our birth, since lives and all those impressions we borrow from previous births. That's how we cannot believe this world to be unreal and this body to be dead. It is an instrument, it is a machine, and I am the driver of the machine. Who can believe such words? They will laugh at you. Yes, this foolish person. See how he is blabbering something. In this way, one who understands this, the relationship of the body with the self, he will certainly understand the reality. A sage who has the knowledge of the self is not born again, because body dies and gets another form because of actions and reactions done by the body. So again and again it has to be built, just as the farmer makes new instruments when the old ones are they have become old, unable to do the field work by those instruments. When your shoes, your clothes get old, you throw them off. In the same way, the individual self, which is subtler than this gross body, when this gross body becomes old, just as you throw off your old shoes, purchase new one and enjoy. Similarly, the inner individual self, which is subtler than this gross body, it enjoys in having the new body. Oh, I have a new body now. So in this way he goes on changing the bodies, and the ignorant persons, being identifying with the body, they feel miserable when this body gets decay. But the sage, one who understands everything, the relationship of the self with the body, the senses, and all these mechanisms, he is never bewildered. If something goes wrong, means something happens uncommon, abnormal. Really speaking, the sages, the saints, the realized souls, they are abnormal to the common worldly beings, because they behave differently. And these ignorant worldly persons, they think they are right. In this way, one who knows everything correctly, then he will not get into this cycle of birth and death again. So tomorrow we shall see samam sarveshu bhutesu tishtantam parameswaram vinasyat savinasantam yah pasyati sa pasyati. Who is a real seer, and how should be your vision? Samatvam. This we shall see tomorrow. Sorry, we have taken little more time. Tomorrow we shall see. Hari Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevamashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadguru Bhagavan ki jai. Satchidananda Bhagavan ki jai. Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Gita Mata ki jai. Hari Om.